Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome to part 2 of Super Sunday here on Apex Racing TV. We had the Formula 4s earlier on from Spa, and what a race that was. And thanks to the beauty of sim racing, we could travel to the opposite side of the world, to Oran Park Raceway, here for the season finale of the SRF, presented by RaceVoice. I'm Tim Cox, got Lewis Wright in the virtual production trailer. Tom Dillon, you will hear from shortly. I'm desperate to get his insight on this one. But coming to this final round, let's have a quick look at the championship standings. And across the Spec 1, while Marco Pinero leads the way there. And he's just been unbreakable this season. Another dominant display from him. Jason Green lines in second and, well, looking comfortable for that. But Kane Lasky and Evandro Dantas, 1 point separates them coming into the final round. Overstreet wraps up the championship in Spec 1 in the Formula Fords, but can't make it here in the S1s or even into the top 3. She lies 5th, then it's Gardini, Gould, Bavini, Andalo, and Woods to round out your top 10. Across into Spec 2 now. Well, this has been tight all season long. Alan McCain leading the way there for Team Bushring on 591, 60 points ahead nearly. Philip Berry, Ken Batley is third, but only by 3 points. It's that third place, yes, again, that's close, ahead of Josh Justice. Gibson is 5th, then it's Woodcock, Jackson, Veglini, Montgomery, and Vogle to round out your top 10. Across into Masters. Now, this season, this has been so topsy-turvy. Arguably, pound for pound, the best of the 3 championships in terms of competitiveness. As Yogmani, who leads the way, but only just. No dominant display in Masters. He's only 4 points ahead of Tom Gradwell, who in turn is only 15 points ahead of Jim Brewster, who's looking to make it to top 3 finishes in the championship in Masters between the Formula Fords and the SRFs. He's doing points, so he's only, well, not a bit of a decent margin ahead of Brad Cathcart. I tell you, race 5th, then it's Mitchell, Nunes, Longin, Bradshaw, and Warbolts to round out your top 10. Now, Tom, thanks to the magic of sim racing, we can go racing this track even though it doesn't exist anymore and hasn't existed for 13 years now.
Well, I didn't know that, actually. I've raced here once in the MX-1000 iRacing and not really touched it since. But, yeah, well, it's fantastic. It's a lovely little circuit, isn't it? One of the most Australian circuits you'll visit. Very small, very, very interesting. But 2010, this place was closed. I don't know whether it's been demolished or what it is up to now.
Yes, it's now a housing estate.
Oh, right, lovely. So
I can inform you.
Wonder if the road is still on the way, the layout is still the racetrack or whatever. But anyway, yes, that's it's a sad sight to see. But I'm quite fond of this place, and it's a good place to finish our season off.
It certainly is indeed. I mean, like you're saying, yeah, quintessentially Australian. just missing a barbecue at the side of the track, really, isn't it? And, well, we've got qualifying well underway, as always. The usual 20-minute affair, 13 minutes complete of that. That's on. It's a bit tricky around this circuit, isn't it? It's tight, narrow, old school national circuit, but also there's not a lot of places you can overtake around here either.
No, absolutely not. I mean, turn 1 is a good bet around here. You have to get the run out of that final corner. Obviously, these cars drive reasonably similar, or you have to race them reasonably similar to how you would race an MX-5, which means that, of course, you want to be getting that slipstream out of the final corner. You want to be getting the run out of the final corner, and you don't want to be doing what Phil Perry has just done, which is going around. It's the double apex left-hander. 13 minutes gone in the session, 6 to go once we tick over into the 15th minute of this qualifying. And right now, it's Dudu Castro who is on pole position. I think, given you know, the nature of this track, that pole position is going to be quite important. I really do want to see Dudu Castro get a victory here today, because he's been so close for the last couple of weeks, and you know, your heart just goes out to him.
He has been, hasn't he? You know, of course, I think back to Interlagos for me, where it was so unlucky, that netco contact with Marco Pinheiro, who, ironically, he was in the chat earlier on in the Formula Ford race, and he was saying in that he thinks he needs a beer before tonight's race, just to try to, you know, settle the nerves and, you know, focus the mind a little bit. I tell you, he's in the session, but he hasn't turned a lap yet in qualifying. I mean, he's got the championship wrapped up. That's the first challenge. We nearly had it earlier on, and the former Tim Hendrickson, who just came last to second, was what he managed at Spa. A scintillating performance. It was all down to fuel strat from the guy who's currently joining Castro on the front row at the moment, Jason Green. So, can he do it tonight? I mean, this is one tough track to try and attempt something like that. And there's so many blind corners and adverse camber corners. I don't know, it's a weird circuit, isn't it?
It is, and that final corner as well is especially tricky. Pit entry is something the drivers are going to have to get used to today as well. That's a frustrating corner to try and get right. But actually the rest of it is a reasonably flowing racetrack that you can find yourself having a good amount of fun on. And particularly here as we go up into Sector 3, you'll see just how Ray Oliver is having to throw this car around. All of these flowing corners are not making for great overtaking opportunities. Then here, not a lot of margin for error on that inside line. Have to run the car right out up to the outside line on exit of that final corner, turn 12 of this regular layout. Ray Oliver is going to stay in 5th position with just 4 minutes to go. But also, as we mentioned, a short track will mean that we actually get quite a lot of laps in today.
Yes, 1 minute and 11 seconds is all time. Well, 11.59 to be precise, which Castro has just set on his last tour. Well, that's flying tour. He's just currently on an out lap, starting his first flying lap after he's popped in new tyres, topped up the fuel tanks. And his fellow countryman Evandro Dantas just tucked up right behind him. Those two trying to work together. But I mean, you talk about that short nature, Tom. It's great because you get lots of laps in. But as usual, big grids here in Weekend Warriors, that doesn't help the situation, because no matter where you go, there's always traffic.
Always traffic, and especially as we get into the latter stages of this race, start to see traffic being a factor, especially if Dudu Castro is going to have a battle on. I think Jason Green, if it stays as it is, Dudu on a lap at the moment, as is Jason Green actually, but I think they will be wanting to fly away together here, and traffic could potentially make those later battles very interesting. Car off on driver's right. There was also a car off on driver's left for a moment there. We'll see if this lap is better for Dudu Castro. 1:11.5 is the time that he set as the benchmark for everyone currently. Looks tidy out of that final corner, right up to the wall on the right-hand side as he comes across the line. It may be an improvement. Crosses the line though, and I don't think there has been an improvement.
No, there hasn't. And I think maybe trying to give Dantas a little bit of a tow around, as they seem to be very synchronised, in which where they both pulled over, and then just, you know, headed straight back to the pits to go again. I think a little bit of working together there. I'd like to see it from the fellow countrymen. Currently first and fourth, respectively, for those two. Two Americans sandwiched in between them in the form of Green and Overstreet. Interesting to see how Ray Oliver goes on. Narrowly missed out on the podium earlier on in the Formula Fords at Spa. John Tussing, another new name to the league. And, well, currently in 31st. That's nothing to be ashamed of whatsoever. Pretty much similar pace to the rest of the midfield. I mean, I'm just looking down the timing sheets. 2 temps gets you from 5th place Ray Oliver to Simon Mayer in 12th. And then 1 tenth further beyond that takes you all the way down to 16th. Another 10th on top of that, and you're down to 20th. So 4 temps covering 15 places or more.
Yeah, it's always very close here in the SRF Weekend Warriors, and today absolutely no different. Interestingly here, Duda Castro is going to get another lap in. We've got a minute to go in this session. He's just come out of the pits, as has Jason Green. Megan Overstreet, perhaps a tip for pole position down in third. She is on a lap at the moment. May get one more in after this current lap as well. Duda Castro's just started his. 3 temps, 4 temps of an improvement required for Megan Overstreet. I mean, it's a tall order. Duda Castro in traffic though, so I don't think this is going to be particularly a fast lap for him. Though, is that Dantas behind him again? Are they orchestrating something here?
Your eyes are not deceiving you, Tom Dillon. I'm certain there's a little bit of tomfoolery going on here, a little bit of helping out one another. So they cross the bridge, of course. Figure of 8 layout, like Suzuka. Heading down, and this part where it gets really, really tricky for me, Tom, because this next corner here, it tightens up on exit, and then you've got this chicane where you just have to kind of point the car in and launch it across the curves. You can't see where you're going, and just you have to have most confidence with the car, your own ability, and know what the track is doing, and around you go.
That's such a bizarre spin for Evandro Dantas. It felt like he was losing the car all the way through that corner, and then it was only at the exit of the corner they actually lost it.
I like the way you say that was bizarre, because due to my low ability, that's quite often what I do in that corner with these cars. I've tried it before, Tom, so thank you for that. It is bizarre. It's nothing to do with my shoddy ability. Evandro Dantas, yes, that will definitely be something bizarre, because he's definitely a lot faster. Has a lot more ability than myself. But this checker flag is out. It's been out for 54 seconds. We've been chatting away. Didn't even spot that one. Drivers coming across the line with their final times. Usual story. No, mate. I don't know about you, Tom. I can't really see any improvements going on out there. It's just the norm it tends to be. Everyone tends to peak quite early.
Yeah, and I think it's simply a case of, we've got 31 drivers who have set our lap time in this session. So, with a vast majority of them out on the circuit on that final lap, there's so many people in traffic that actually finding an improvement is quite tricky. And if you're running for many laps in a session, the chances of your final lap being the one that is the fastest isn't particularly high. I also find that perhaps the track evolution in iRacing isn't maybe as emphasized as in other sims.
I hear another R factors better than iRacing vibe coming in there, Tom. I know that's your sim.
R Factor 2's track evolution is also not as pronounced as the other sims. I was just, it's just a passing comment here.
Lovely deflection there, my friend. Lovely deflection. Let's take you through the grid for the final time this season. Duda Castro on pole with Jason Green. There's another All-American and Brazilian second row behind the front row in the form of Overstreet and Dantas. Then we've got Ray Oliver and Fabio Scali. A good qualifying for the Italian there, up in 6th, third row of the grid. Claudio Gardini, the Swiss driver, he's had a strong qualifying to come 7th, alongside the Mexican Dan Wood. Flavian Darlo and Simon Mayer going to round out your top 10, and row 5 of the grid, Tom.
Oh, row 6 is all Masters. It's actually the first of the Masters, Kurt Nunez and Chris Murakami. And Tom Gredwell and Andrea Favini make up row 7 with Luca Leone and Kenneth Bately behind them. Philip Berry and Brad Cathcart 17th and 18th. Adam Bradshaw and Trenton Kramer, your top 20.
We've got Stephen Mitchell and Ian Gibson making up row 11. Row 12, Charlie Ficarro and Jim Brewster, the All-American Masters row. There's Paul Jackson next to Gary Warbolt. Row 14 is your leader in the Spec 2 Championship, Alan McCain. He's well done by his own standards in 27th. 1.5 seconds off the pace, but he's lining up next to Jeff Wibker. With Jeff Fritcher and Charlie Spink rounding out your top 30.
And the rest of the grid is John Tusting, Marco Panero, Gianni Longini and Michael Viglini. Now it's interesting to see our champion there in 32nd. That's interesting to see his progress throughout the field. I wonder if anything happened in that session or if Marco Panero just fancies a challenge in this last race of the season.
Well, we talked about that Brazilian dynamic at the front of the grid between Castro and Dantas. There's 3 Italians at the back. I mean, maybe I'm just reading too much into this, Tom. Maybe I am. Talking to Marco Panero in the chat. However, he's not taken to the track, so I'm not sure whether he's going to... Maybe he's not feeling it. And maybe not joining us. That'd be a bit of a shame. We'd love to see Marco Panero last the first challenge. If you're still with us, Marco, I've just seen him in the chat saying he's not racing.
Well, interestingly, we've only got 19 cars on track from what I can see, Tim.
No, we're okay. I think that's just a camera angle you've seen there, mate. I think, Dantas pulling out wide to make this 3 wide. The run to the line as we are green. We're racing for the final time this season. There you go. We talked about the coordination between himself and Castro, and I think that's what we've just witnessed there. But Dantas stuck on the outside. Overstreet covered it up. Green's going to have to slide in behind, or is he? It's still too wide through turn 1 proper. The mind games and the tactics from Dantas just didn't quite work on the run down to turn 1. There might have been a bit of an incident further back between Fritcher and Jackson, but everyone just making their way through right now. Mayer, he's on to a good start up a couple of places. Dan Woods dropped 2 from 8th through to 10th. Trenton Kramer ran well early on. He's up 3 places already into 17th, your highest position gainer. As we come across the bridge for the first time this evening. Everyone playing it a little bit safe in this early stages. Everyone still in one line. There you go. One driver just heading through there. I think it was that Phil Berry with no bonnet.
It is. It's Phil Berry with out of bonnet in the 888s. And we have got 34 cars on the circuit. I can tell you that now. It looked like an error on my timing screen more than anything. 25 on the timing screen on the left-hand side of your picture. But Phil Berry definitely going to be having a difficult time. I heard a crunch of carbon fibre in my ears then. I don't know if that anything happened there further back, but we'll have to wait and see. Megan Overstreet, is she gunning for the lead as we go down into turn 1? She looks to the inside line. There's a big Constantina between our top 2, but in the end, Dudu Castro is the one who stays on top and stays in the lead of this race. I said it in the qualifying session. I'll say it again. I so want this man to win.
Wow, I think it's going to take a lot to move him from this top spot. We've seen so many battles between himself and Marco Panero all season long, Tom, haven't we? And with no Panero here today, who's just said in the chat that he doesn't like this track, so, you know, with the championship wrapped up, realistically, he didn't need to turn up today. And I think it's going to take a lot to shift Castro from that top spot here today. Just needs to play it safe, bring it home here, but he has some fierce competition behind him. Overstreet, Green, Dantas, they're no slouches either, are they? And to be fair, Tom, I'm looking down the timing sheet, and to get bigger than a second gap, you have to go all the way down. Well, actually, it's opened up a little bit now. It is 7th. It was originally 28th. As well, you can tell that this track is trot dependent on the start finish straight, as everyone weaving and snaking down there, following one another. As Overstreet, oh, thought she'd lost it there, but that's Green through as they all drift it through, and there's been a contact. And who's that sneaking it through? Well, that's Ray Oliver. Says thank you very much. You leave a big gap there. I'm going to take the positions off all of you.
Through he goes into second. All there's contact behind as well. And that is going to add a spanner into the works. Dantas is down the inside, holds on to that 3rd spot. Oliver still keeping an eye on this scrap to see what he can pick up out of it. But the biggest loser out of all of that, it has to be said, is Megan Overstreet, second all the way to 5th. Dudu Castro, 3.1 seconds. In the context of an SRF race, Tim, I don't think 3.1 seconds is a particularly surmountable margin.
No, we've seen it before, but we saw it earlier on the Formula First. As there's Chris Murakami inventing a rallycross track here at Oran Park. Maybe trying to get some foundations for the housing estate that will be eventually built if we've headed back in time to be able to be on this track thanks to the sim. But just seeing Tusting there, trying to make his way past Charlie Spink, those two working from the back together up to places. But wow, have things calmed down? Do they ever really? Well, I think we've answered the main question there, really, haven't we? Oh, Dan Wood's dropping a few places. I think my spidey senses, Tom, are telling me that he has come off track somewhere. There he is in the 26 machine. Sorry, 28 even. It's his livery that just makes it look like a 6.
And he gets through as well into 22nd position. I understand how it can be difficult to read numbers sometimes off of cars, but he's under pressure still, braking a little bit earlier than Gary Volbolt behind. Not Gary Volbolt, sorry, the car in front of Gary Volbolt, in fact, of Vaccaro. Volbolt is now trying to make the most of this and make a move, but inside of this part of the track it's particularly difficult. He's got a fantastic run here though and will look to go down the inside line. Surely no, again he's being smart. Volbolt had to catch a little bit of a slide there for a moment, so actually in the end he doesn't gain a great deal of time at all, and in fact that car just looks very loose.
It does, doesn't it? For the cars that don't have a lot of horsepower, 106 by my recollection, it looks really fast and furious through that section, doesn't it? It looks far faster than it actually is, and I'm just showing that it's really not draft dependent, this track. The fact Phil Berry still has no bonnet and is still able to keep in the fight on the hunt with Gradwell in front of him, Favini not too far up the road too. It's really showcasing that just, wow, clearly that extra body panel was just slowing him down before. Lighten the car up, get rid of it, off he goes.
Yes, and we see Kenneth Bately in 14th spots at the moment. He's got a little bit of pressure behind him. That's from Kramer. Kramer looking for that 13th spot, and of course the Spec 2 victory. Bately holding on to it for the time being. Of course, he's got the
Gardini's off.
Ahead of him with all. Gardini goes off. That's correct. So we'll take a break from that Spec 2 battle, which actually might now start to be affected by Gardini.
Everyone breathe in and they make it through. I mean, that is a scary part of the circuit where you just we were talking about it before, and it just enter in blind, don't you? And you have to have a lot of confidence in your own ability and track knowledge. Everyone makes it through. It all settles it down once more. Well, I tell you what, it is as tight as you like in this season finale, turning into a bit of a street fight here in Oran Park. Everyone's scrambling for positions. No massive amount of overtaking opportunities. There's 3 cars all involved in the background. It's Leone, Cathcart, and Walbolt potentially, Tom. This is another incident, just we'll go into replay.
This is Luca Leone down the inside line. I'm not too sure what happens here. Is he going to get overtaken, or is he going to get, spun around? He spins someone around, actually. I didn't see who it was that he spun around. However, Leone ends up a benefactor of all of that, going off into the distance.
I think it might have been Brad Cathcart who he just spun there, Tom. Something's happened to Alan McCain. There's cars off left, right, and centre. I think it might be Charlie Vaccaro. Oh, that's a shame. Charlie was on an absolute cracker today, and something's happened to it. This is turning into an absolute war of attrition. I think maybe Castro might be the only driver with his car being completely and utterly straight. There's bent body panels left, right, and centre. This is what happened to our Spec 2 Championship leader. Well, I could see that gap disappearing, and it did in the blink of an eye, and I'm not too sure if that move was ever going to be on there.
And does that have an effect on whether he walks away Champions Day, Tim, is my question.
That's Ray Oliver. He was second, and he's now in 6th. He's clearly outbraked himself there. Oh. It's like they've all gone mad. It's like it's week 13.
Yes, well, is what happened to Ray Oliver. I'll say the replay not popping up on my screen
So
here.
that's
you'll
okay.
have to-
So that's all right. He has outbraked himself. I managed to get it right. I mean, he had lost a couple of places already to Green and Dantas there before he arrived at that corner, and did well to evade making contact with Overstreet. But, well, that's Oliver maybe out of the equation. On board with Kurt Nunes, 10th. There's Favini in front of us with Mayer, then Andala, then Scarlett, and, well, Oliver now ironically leading this train for the best of the rest of the peloton, if you like. But Castro, you know, you're willing him on, Tom. 3.5 seconds clear at the front of the field. Well, I thought we were going to have a big incident there. We weren't. We get away with it. Favini darting to the left there at the last moment like he was having a bit of an issue, but clearly not, just mind games, and we're all okay again.
Dan Wood has come into the pit lane, and that's going to be frustrating for him as John Tusting goes around and someone joins the accident as well. So, well, that's very interesting. I think it was Brad Cathcart joining the accident there, and it was that 905 car just getting it a little bit wrong. Paul Jackson's off of the track on the left-hand side. That was just a brief excursion for the Brits, and he's back going again, all okay. And I think he's lost out a spot to Spink in 25th. Castro then. So that battle, 33.7 second lead. Tim, I said that it was pretty insurmountable, and as I stand by that, the nature of these cars makes it very, very difficult to gain lap time on someone. Nevertheless, 3.7 seconds. That's going to be probably an easy victory as it stands for Dudu Castro, but there's plenty of happenings behind, such as this battle.
There is. I think there's been an incident ahead of us. We're about to crop off, and there's a lot of tyre smoke. I'm sure I've had the crunching of bodywork. Well, as we on board with Jim Brewster, and we head through turn one proper, there's nothing there. So maybe there wasn't. We've got away with it. A bit of banging doors, maybe, or is it? We're gonna find out now. So Gradwell there in the 909 machine in his home race. Oh, he touched the grass, and that's what the tyre smoke was from, and that's what the cloud was from, as he bottomed out the car on the curbing. Well, it did well, because that inside curb, Tom, is deceptively high, and in certain cars, it's really easy just to wedge the car on it and get stuck. Not that I've ever experienced that myself at all, ever.
Well, I'm not sure you're being totally truthful there, Tim. That little aside, is Oran Park bringing back some unfavourable memories?
Yeah, it is. I'm not going to lie, Tom. It is. It's, yeah.
Only ever iRacing victory game here for me in MX5.
There you go. Someone's got to love it.
Yes, I'm quite fond of this track, as I said earlier. Quentin Kramer. Oh, it's going to go straight into the back of Mitchell. And, well, it's a very nice save. Glad he saved a little bit of his pride there. But unfortunately, he was straight into the back of Stephen Mitchell.
Wow. Weirdly, we're only just coming up to 12 minutes through this race. It feels like we've been going forever, but I mean, just to the amount of laps. I mean, 10 laps. We're only 4 laps deep in the in the Formula Fords earlier on at Spa. Of course, chalk and cheese in terms of track length. Oran Park is, well, just a meager 1.6 miles, 2.6 kilometers in this configuration. And ironically, it's not even the smallest one available to us. But just looking at Overstreet there, just hot on the heels of Dantas. Green has, well, he's really opened up a gap there, hasn't he? 2.7 seconds. In fact, maybe even growing more so. But aside of that, Castro looking good for this and clear. But Green is the master on saving fuel and pit strategy. Looks like he's underfueled the car when he comes in, but actually it normally has its time to perfection. If he could do the same again, it saved him 3 seconds at Spa. If he does it in the SRFs here in Oran Park, Tom, then all of a sudden it's game on at the front between him and Castro.
Yeah, that's a point, and I think if anyone has got a chance of winning this race, it's probably these two, and of course Green up in second. However, I think they've got more of a chance of doing so in the pit stops rather than anywhere else. Trenton Kramer is in battles again. Mitchell stays ahead of him. Kramer's on the inside line trying to get ahead of Bradshaw, which he does. Be hoping this time by, of course, that his attack off Stephen Mitchell is executed a little bit more cleanly than in the previous couple of laps or so. Gibson just ahead of them is going to find himself under pressure as well. Let's run on board with Jeff Richard. He's got a good view of everything going on just ahead of him, the 901, with a little bit of a lock-up. That might allow Fritschett to get a run out of the final corner. Here he goes, out of turn 12, up into turn 1. Oh, dearie me, that's the pit exit entry for you. Here it's Oran Park. That's forced the 901 to get out the throttle a little bit. Will allow Jeff Fritschett to have a look down the inside line, but he wants the slipstream. He wants to be able to lift and coast a little bit into the corner, as we see Mitchell is making contact again with Kramer. So that's certainly interesting. Fritschett, though, not in a particular rush to make this move.
Interesting how Fritschett, like you say, just bump drafting. Two words you don't tend to hear at Oran Park, but Jeff Fritschett giving Murakami there the hurry up and pushing along to ensure that they stay in the fight, with Kramer, Mitchell and Brewster just ahead of them. And right now, I can't work out who's the cork in the bottle. I mean, is it Brewster who leads this group, or is it actually everyone else just battling behind, and poor old Brewster up in front is just worried and half looking in his mirrors trying to work out what's going on behind him. Is he going to get dive bombed, or I've sort of make contact with him and he loses places that way? I'm really not too sure. Can't work it out. Kramer into the pits, I would say. Yes, he is. And so comes in Fritschett and Leone as well. Jeff Fritschett's up 10 places.
Very early pit stops, isn't it? But all things considered, Jim Brewster on the inside line. 917 looks to the outside line, but isn't quite going to be able to find. In fact, finds himself under pressure here from Chris Murakami. So this is all-out warfare for the Masters podium, and obviously second place occupied in Spec 2 by Gibson at the moment. Overstreet looking for the overall podium. And, well, she's been on the back of Evandra Dantas for quite a few laps now, and I don't suspect it'll be too long before we find her making a move, perhaps here out of this final corner.
Or does she, Tom? Does she elect just to sit behind Dantas here and play the fuel safe strat? As you said earlier, I think this one's going to be decided for a lot of the positions in the pits. So do you think maybe that she sits behind fuel saves this one and gets to jump on everyone? I just don't know. It's so complex. It's, you know, it's almost, it's not 3D, it's almost 4D.
And my second question for you, Tim, here is Alan McCain and his championship chances. I've got the spreadsheet up in front of me, and I've also got the rules up in front of me. I can't figure out whether Phil Berry does enough for the championship here. I don't know if you've got any.
Oh, do you know what? It's been so chaotic, Tom. I hadn't even contemplated that one. Now, they do have drop weeks, so, and this is where I'm not too sure, and I think that Alan McCain should be okay. I mean, remember he had that third overall, didn't he? That was back at Fuji in round 6, so, I mean, that's gonna, and he's also, you know, the win at Hockenheim, Phillip Island, Lime Rock, you know, wins there too. A third at Red Bull all the way back at round 2, 2/3 at Interlagos and Charlotte. I think that he should be okay. I think, but then just based on podiums, Berry's only had a he won in Spec 2 to Red Bull Ring. Is on board with Mayer there, just heading on past Gardini. Berry had a second at Laguna, a win at Red Bull, a second at Phillip Island, a third at Fuji. I think that's it, really. So I think McCain's done enough. I think.
Yeah, I'd agree. And obviously, if he hasn't taken a 0-pointer, then there is a potential that, in the weird way that drop rounds work, that he can actually gain points by finishing lower down today than his previous drop round, because obviously he'll drop this round. However, It's going to be interesting. I do think McCain has done enough here, and I think, well, where is Phil Berry is the question. He should come into the pits, so he's 20 seconds, so certainly McCain will have done enough now. I believe it's outside of our top 3. It's only 1 point difference in between the various positions, which means that in any case, I think McCain should have done enough anyway.
And what makes it even harder for us, thank you, Stevie Ray, series organizer, is also incident points play a part in how many, if you have a clean race. I don't think, having said that, I don't think actually anyone's going to have achieved a 0x race today. Looking at the amount of bodywork that's damaged out there and spins that people have had off tracks as well. I think that shouldn't play a factor, he says, famous last words. I mean, it's just so mind-boggling. I mean, interesting for me though, I thought Castro would pull away from green as Overstreet. Well, that's a bit close for my comfort, Tom Dillon. Way too close for my comfort and my nerves in my old age.
Well, they were a little bit close together, weren't they? Overstreet will try and have another bite at the cherry here as they go down into turn 1. She gets the slipstream. Is she going to be able to make the move stick though? This time by, she's very, very fast with the benefit of that slipstream. Goes to the inside line, should make the move. Oh, squeezed by Dantas. Now, for my mind, Dantas did not give enough space there. Overstreet, if she hadn't backed out of it, was going straight into the side of him.
I mean, he was taking the racing line. Was she alongside enough? It was so close. It all happens so fast, doesn't it? I mean, if Dantas doesn't do that, he loses the place. We know how hard it is to overtake around here in equal terms. I mean, Dantas just feels like he is clinging on to this last podium place by his absolute fingertips, and Overstreet is just harassing and haranguing and making his life an absolute misery right now. Certainly for this first 20 minutes of the race, halfway stage, I've got to feel someone needs to buy Evandro Dantas a beer after this. I think he is going to really need one. Well,
it's just a short track that we can find out if Overstreet can go for round 2 here once again. I have to say, I'm not a fan of the whole wheels out, back out thing. I think Overstreet was probably entitled to a little bit more space there. We'll see if she gets it this time by again. Dantas is turning in very, very early. That's another thing you've got to remember, that you do turn in very early for that turn 1. So genuine potential that he didn't see it. But I do think on that incident itself, if there was contact, barring the fact we don't have post-race penalties, you would be inclined to give the penalty, send it Dantas's way. But it's in the past now, and well, you can see that he is defending well otherwise from Megan Overstreet.
Well, that kink on the run into, turn 1 proper Coca-Cola corner, it's called the sweeper, Tom. And Dantas is definitely sweeping across the front of Overstreet there to prevent her from trying to make any progress to get ahead of him this halfway stage of the race. When does everyone elect to pick? I mean, maybe that's the thing from Overstreet, is she pits about a bit earlier, but then she's going to get caught up in traffic maybe. But then those other drivers could be easier to pass. But then would Dantas do better if he didn't have Overstreet sat on his bumper constantly, making his life a misery? That's just in the foreground there, seeing Alan McCain getting a move done into the sweeper. Well, I think maybe Overstreet, after that moment, Tom, is just electing to sit behind, I think.
You think that you'd sit in at this point in the race with 18 minutes to go, but obviously Overstreet not interested in doing such a thing. They are catching up to back marker traffic. We said this is exactly what was going to happen, but as they start battling at the front of the field, suddenly you find back markers getting into play far more than they would around other circuits. And memory has totally gone from me. I completely forget where we were last week, but that track wasn't particularly harsh on the back marker traffic, and I have totally lost
Stetson.
It was a good race.
Stetson on 200. Castro's in though from the lead.
He is, and again, perhaps a little bit early for Dudu Castro, but he'll be happy with it. Alan McCain is doing the gentlemanly thing and pulling over to the side of the road to allow these guys through. Oliver's not out of this pack either just yet. He sits down in 5th position. And as Megan Overstreet starts to battle, as these guys will go on into the podium positions, at least provisionally, Overstreet still not able to find that move. Ray Oliver in with a fantastic chance of a podium here.
He is the highest placed Australian right now in 4th. I mean, technically 5th because Castro obviously came in from the lead. He's already off the Jackson, out, taken on his field. There he is, heading out of pit lane. We talked about the pit entrance being treacherous. Pit exit, still not quite as treacherous, but as pit exits go, it's not a comfortable affair. Certainly in my book anyway, Tom.
He's made himself susceptible to the overcut, Castro. That is for certain, with how traffic-oriented this track is. And that's going to play into the hands of these guys, which is why I'm starting to think Megan Overstreet, if she's not going to be making that move soon, should start to sit in. 9.2 seconds though. Green is into the pits, and this is how this is where we find out really. Jeff Fritscher is on the inside line. He's getting through, I believe, back marker traffic. There's a car on the right-hand side there. No, in fact, he's getting past Spink. So there you go. He's up into 20th position. Oliver is into the pits as well. So now we've got a fantastic little battle of strategies going on.
We have. I'm keeping an eye on the timing sheets for us, Tom, of where Oliver and Green are. This is where Castro is. So there we can see in live pictures, Castro just coming out of the final corner. Green still stationary. A shorter stop though, Tom. Stationary for a second less compared to Castro. We just see him swoop through into turn 1 there, so that's surely going to shrink the deficit. It was about 3.4 seconds roughly when they came in. Well, it's down to 2.1, 2.2.
It could get interesting. It could get interesting. We'll see how it pans out. 2.2. When you take into consideration that they've got a lot of traffic to deal with, that can quickly evaporate away. I stand by that in clean air conditions, that 3.5 second gap wasn't coming down a great deal. There's your track map to see how that traffic is sorting itself out. This time, though, Overstreet and Dantas is a battle for the lead, at least provisionally. They won't be in the lead in net conditions as Overstreet goes to the inside line, and this time is able to make that move, and it feels like Dantas made that very easy for her.
Maybe a bit of a realization, because obviously Oliver has pitted. He was catching them up to the back of them at a rapid rate of knots. And Dantas maybe just thinking, right, okay, just let it go. Play it safely here. Let's, play the numbers game. Ensure we come out ahead and just of Oliver, and then just go for it towards the end of the race. But right now, Overstreet already 6 tenths ahead and feeling like she's pulling away from Dantas.
It does actually, 6 tenths of a second in just a few corners. That's that's impressive for Megan Overstreet, who is clearly wanting this podium.
There you go, 7 tenths. And there's another 10th gone, and maybe just really feeling like she's not feeling. I think it was showcasing that maybe she was just a bit held up behind Dantas, but. You see where they're just better in certain corners and weaker in others. There you go, see the sector information there. So sector 3 is Dantas' strongest, but everywhere else, well, sectors 4 and 5 are identical for the pair of them. But it was sector 1, obviously that was where the overtake was done. The same with sector 2, 3 tenths is where she pulled it out, Tom. And there you go, there's another 10th or so gone. So it's 8 tenths now, that gap.
And this would tell you that Megan Overstreet is going to be, well, really quite enjoying this the latter part of this first stint. I expect them into the pits within the next 5 minutes or so, and you can see Dantas is starting to hemorrhage time from Megan Overstreet. It's well, it's showing how good of a defensive job he was doing if she was this much faster than him.
It really is showcasing. Look, there you go, another 10th in sector 3, Tom. 1.2 seconds to the gap already. Overstreet not hanging around whatsoever. 28 minutes can play in the season finale of the SRF Weekend Warriors. presented by RaceVoice here on Apex Racing TV. They go again, the pair of them. Oh, Dantas doesn't. Overstreet skimming the wall. There's no need to do that, Megan. Try and maybe do a bit of NASCAR, just getting the side draft off the wall there.
Side draft off the wall?
You can, it is possible. In a weird way, it creates like a little vacuum. I'm also, I mean, I could talk about it in terms of commentary terms. Doing it actually in sim racing, not a chance for me. I don't have enough ability, or well, I only have a single monitor as well. It just ends in death whenever I attempt it. But so let's have a bit of a shakedown of what's happened post pit stops. That gap is roughly between Castro and Green is maintained, Tom, at about 2 seconds, 2.1. So Green's still within the hunt in that one, but they do have Tom Gradwell in between them. There is Tom Gradwell just behind Castro. So we're okay on that one for now. Where is, so Dantas has come out quite a considerable distance ahead of Oliver. Now, Oliver was stationary for 17 seconds, so that's why. And there is Dantas, but... So Scarly in from second.
The Webber Overstreet pit, she's staying out for a very long time.
But, I mean, she was sat on the rear bumper. Let's not forget of Dantas for, what, I mean, a good 23 minutes, I'd say. It's got to have been somewhere around that sort of ballpark. So if she's fuel saved all that time, bar the overtake, I'm
not particularly buying that alone can save you that much fuel, though, to be honest with you, Tim. She must have been doing other fuel saving stuff throughout the course of the race, because she's got a lot more time in hand than the others, and it was about 13 seconds to catch up to our race leader of Dudu Castro. And by the looks of things, if we assume pit delta is around 25 seconds, she's actually a little bit closer to Dudu Castro than she was before. I'm assuming that pit delta, by the way, because, well, without having it directly in front of me, because of how little fuel she's going to have to put in for the last 9 minutes or so.
I concur with you.
This could be game on. I don't know if my maths is just poor or if it could actually be game on.
I'm buying it, Tom. I'm definitely buying it. You can have my credit card details, mate, to buy it with. It sounds incredibly plausible. There's Kurt Nunes into pit road from the lead in Masters. There goes Castro in the wall. Skims it on the outside. That's how hard he's pushing. And look who's behind him. No car between them. It's Jason Green. And the gap, Tom? Well, 2 seconds dead. And Castro, from looking comfortable, is definitely not feeling it now.
Yeah, he won't be feeling it. He needs to remember, though, that in these cars, 2 seconds is actually a pretty sizable gap. So he hasn't got too much time to hold on to it. So he'll be happy with that. It's not like he's being caught at a rate of knots, you know, on lap 5 of the race. So he can take a little bit of solace in that. I think he would back himself to be defending for a couple of laps. I think, again, their main concern is Megan Overstreet, who, well, has got a pretty large gap now. It's up and around 20 seconds. Close enough.
But, Tom, I know you're a sports car fan like myself, and is this going to be Overstreet in? Yes, it is. It's all about traffic management, and as we all know, I mean, us mostly from multi-class endurance, but if you can't get past that traffic easily, that 2 seconds gap, yes, it's healthy, regardless whether you're in a prototype or full spec racer, certainly in one of these cars, but it can evaporate in the blink of an eye, and I think maybe, just maybe that's what Castro is thinking about. So there's him and Green. They're going to head on through. Overstreet is in the pits taking on the fuel. Probably about another 5 seconds left for her. Let's keep half an eye on when she gets going. So yes, 2 temps longer than Green, but 7 temps less than Castro. There she is. Where is Dantas? Oh, that doesn't really look like too much more than when she came into the pits. If anything, Dantas is now closer.
She seemed to be in the box for a long time. You said slower stop than Green. That
only by 2 temps, though.
Yeah,
so it's negligible.
5 laps more. So, well, I say 5 laps.
Yes.
I'm being slightly hyperbolic. I don't know exactly how much it was, but she did significantly more running on the track, so
Hey,
surely she had to put in less fuel.
nearly right, Tom. 6 laps was the difference.
Well, even more then.
Favini and Andalo are in. Mayer, I would imagine, coming in as well. Yes, there comes Simon Mayer. So, yeah, you're absolutely spot on. You know, for 6 laps extra, I mean, maybe Green just elected to come in early just to try and cover off Castro a little bit with his strategy, and those guys two trying to come out into a bit of traffic in a bit of space that maybe they had spotted. Just looking back from Gary Warbolt, that's Castro just behind us. And Warbolt lets him through very, very easily there.
Sensible. Last knockings of the season. Don't want to get yourself banned for next year, but taking someone out, do you? At this stage, but Jason Green goes down the inside and is up through. So 2.1 seconds. I actually honestly thought Overstreet was going to be in with the chance of winning this race. Obviously, my maths end up being a little bit less accurate than we would have thought. She was in the pits longer than expected. 11 seconds, 12 seconds now up to the leader. Ian Gibson, what a drive for him. He's really come out of nowhere, hasn't he? Up in third position in the Spec 2. That's oh, he's not pit yet. There you go. Thank you, Louis. Wondered why he'd come out of nowhere. Ian Gibson's still on a pretty good drive. He'll come out in the top 10 and should win this Spec 2 race. However, we'll be happy to get a couple of laps under his belt in the podium. I have just seen that Fabio Scali has crashed. I don't know how accurate that is on my little events page here in the SDK live timing software, which you can check out in the description. Anyway.
Let's find out, Tom. Because I clocked that one as well, and he'd also come off track. I'm wondering whether. Oh wow, that's weird. He went to turn in, and then all of a sudden the car just didn't even start to turn in. Didn't touch the grass. The car just snapped on him, and around he went.
I wonder if that was under braking. If he locks up the rears for whatever reason.
Good point. That's why we pay you the big bucks, Tom.
Yes, big bucks is keyword there. He's Megan Overstreet up in third position, 11 seconds to the leading pair, but Avandra Dantas just behind.
Green has taken a couple of more attempts out of Castro, but I don't think it's well. I just don't know, Tom. 1.9 seconds the gap, but like I was saying, you know, previously, if Castro catches a bit of traffic at the wrong moment. Let's have a little look at what he was going to come up to next. So the next guy's going to come up to is Luca Leone and Paul Jackson, who are in a bit of a battle right now. There's the delta. So Green has, well, I mean, pretty much near identical. You know, half a tenth within each sector, but Castro has been faster than Green, and Green then faster in sector 1, ebbing and flowing by incredibly slim margins. Basically nothing in it whatsoever, but it's that traffic. It's really worrying me right now. And Will Leone and Jackson, you can see just in the foreground, the shot there, play ball. I mean, they're seasoned weekend warriors. They know Castro incredibly well as well. They can see he's fighting for the victory, and let's face it, it doesn't matter whether it's a league where you've raced with the drivers for many a season or an official, you don't want to be the guy that took out the leader.
I will say one thing though, that Dudu Castro can't be worrying about what he can't control. That is the first way in any sport to getting yourself into a bit of a pickle mentally. Just needs to take each bit of traffic as it comes, and if he uses it smartly as well, you forget traffic can also play into your advantage. We all like to be pessimistic when it comes to our personal chances of winning races, but if you do it smartly and you get a little bit of luck, it can be an advantage. For example, right now, putting cars in between himself and Jason Green, and not only not losing time while he does it, but also gaining time by doing it.
Behind them though, while it was Overstreet who was attacking Dantas. Oh, she's running deep, and well, the first half of the race, Dantas didn't break in terms of the mind games. Dantas does it to Overstreet, and well, she cracks under pressure and falls off the podium. What can Dantas do now? He looks reinvigorated after his pit stop, Tom, I've got to say. This is how we did it.
on the inside line. Overstreet outbroke herself, did she? Turns in. Oh, she got a wiggle in the middle of the corner. That's how it happened. There wasn't just a little bit of a wiggle, slight wiggle. It sent her off of the racing line, and that was that. However, we've seen her pace over Dantas, and now when she's in the slipstream, with just a minute and a half to go, we won't be on the final lap this time by. We'll get one more lap in after this. However, she'll be keen to get back past. Let's see if she can do it as we go onto the pit straight for the penultimate time this season. Overstreet is on the outside line, squeezed a little bit by Dantas, wanted that inside line, realised she was alongside, so going to have to go the long way around here. Megan Overstreet breaks a little bit earlier than Dantas, and that is going to be Dantas holding on to the position for the time being. One more chance for Overstreet to make that move.
Oh, I think it's time for a deep breath as we look down from the helicopter there. Can Dantas hold on? Murakam? Oh no, just triggering the pit lane entry there. That was a very late stop for him. What has Dantas got up his sleeve? We've seen his staunch defense, and it's all about that final turn. So getting the exit off it to ensure you can stay ahead on the entry into one. Here we go, folks. Who's got it in them to make this work? As we race up through the chicane, towards that famous final turn, that wall looming large on the outside there. Overstreet getting the much tighter line here. She's going to have the run as Dantas messed up that final corner and messed it up. He cuts down to the inside of the track. Overstreet on the grass, keeps hold of it, goes to the outside. Going to have to go the long way around. Couldn't get it done last time. Onto the brakes they go. She's kept the car alongside here, Tom. But I don't think it's going to be enough. A well played Evandro Dantas in defending that one.
She's still got a chance, perhaps one more as they get to the run to the line. Castro is going to get the victory in a few moments' time, and my word, as he deserved it with the way he has driven throughout the last few races in this season. It was about time, and I believe it's about to happen. But Megan Overstreet is hounding Evandro Dantas. She's worked so hard herself for this podium this afternoon, this evening, and she might only have a couple more opportunities to do it.
Well, there goes Deodu Castro. He is going to take his first victory of the season. Congratulations to him. A deserved winner. But look in the background. Oh, there's contact. Dantas in the wall. Overstreet, well, talk about sportsmanship. Slows up. And that means that Dantas is going to get third. But Tom, it was brewing between these two.
Desperation from Overstreet, isn't it? And well, fair play to not just going on into the distance and letting it sort out afterwards. That's important in a series where there's no post-race penalties. And again, correct me if I'm wrong on that, Tim. There's no post-race penalties here.
You are right.
I shouldn't second-guess myself so much, but you know, to have the awareness to just allow them.
We're not quite done though, because look, that's Gradwell into the last turn. Sneaking up the inside of Gibson, but Gibson coming back here, Tom. There could be a race to the line between the pair of them, but I think Gladwell's just done enough there. Yes, he has. 2 temps at the line, but they're not in the background. Well, take your pick. Oh, they're still going incredibly slow. I think they've run out of fuel. That's the 43 there. Jeff Fritcher. Oh, that's going for Jeff because he has had an amazing race. He was at 15 places. And I think it might even need a bit of a push to get across the line. Oh, no, he's across. We're okay.
Well,
We're safe.
That's helpful in the end. John Tusting, rather, will be our last driver across the line. No, he won't. We can go to our race results. For those interested, by the way, I do believe that Alan McCain has won the championship. But here we go then, Tim.
Castro taking the victory. Tom, you got your way. Jason Green second in the end because couldn't catch the Brazilian. Dantas mainly to get 2 Brazilians on the podium with Overstreet in the end having to self a fourth. She said just stewarding herself and allowing Dantas to take that third place. Flavio Ndalo, look at that for a pattern for you and making it 3 Brazilians in the top 5. Favini 6, Scarlett 7, Oliver in the end. Well, just after the pit stops, far away, finishes 8. Kurt Nunes, your winner in Masters. Dan Wood running out your top 10. Murakami and Gradwell running out the Masters podium 11th and 12th, respectively. Ian Gibson winning Spec 2. I think that's got to be his first win. No, sorry, it's not. He went all the way back at Road Atlanta in Spec 2. So second victory of the season. Then it's Brewster, McCain second in class, Mitchell, Fritcher, Mayer. In 20th, we have Leone Jackson all the way down 20th, but picks up the last podium place in Spec 2. Then Batley, Woodcock, Bolt, Tusting, Berry. The last car being 1 lap down, then 2 laps down was Vaccaro, and then we got into the retirements. Gardini and Spink, we lost them back on lap 29, and then it was Bradshaw, Kramer, Cathcart, and then obviously Panero and Lilgin and Vaglini, 3 Italians not making the start. Let's have a chat to some people. And Tom, I know you were desperate for him to win, so I think it's only fair you get to chat to Dudu Castro.
Dudu Castro, it's been a long time coming. You've finished second so many times here this season. You've had perhaps results that haven't been indicative of the form you've been in, but finally you get the victory. It came in dominant style as well.
Yeah, don't tell me about second place, please. It's something that makes me crazy. So, but I was talking to Marco right now, and I wish that he was racing with us here, but unfortunately he didn't want to. But win is always a win. So I think I had an easy start. I thought the race would be easier, but no, Jason was putting a lot of pressure. I was doing as hard as I could. And it was tough, man. The race was really tough for me.
And towards the end there, you were being caught. You did well to manage the traffic and make sure that didn't really ever develop. Just how close was it there at the end? Did you feel it was always in control?
No, what happened is before the pit, I saw a group of 6, 7 cars together, and Jason was about 3 seconds behind. And I know that Jason always is really good on the pits, and I decided. So I had a little margin, so I decided to do that undercut and see what happened. So pit earlier, and it worked. So then when I came back to the track, I caught like a clean track pretty much. People was respecting the fastest car, so it was good. It was really good.
And well, on to next season then. Are you planning on a return?
Yeah, I will, for sure. For me, it's always tough to do the 12 races. I always have a trip in between. This season, I probably did about 6 or 7, where half of it, I had an issue with Marco, and one I came in charge like 200 miles per hour into the pits. The other one on the last lap in the Spa-Francorchamps. So it's always fun to race with him. So I hope next season I can get a better luck on this.
Well, thank you for joining us, Dudu. We'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
That was Dudu Castro, your overall race winner. Tim, I'll pass it over to you.
Next up, we've got our champion in Spec 2, Alan McCain, joins us. I mean, what a race for you! We'll pack that one for today. I mean, you were yo-yoing up and down the order. If in the thick of it, the perennial, if you didn't have any bad luck, then you wouldn't have had any luck whatsoever, as has normally been the case. But in the end, second in class.
Very surprised. Really very, very surprised, considering I'm sitting here in a lot of agony.
I could imagine it looked incredibly painful out for you there. Mentally, I'm sure physically as well. A few bits of contact, wheel snapping from you. I'm up at 11 places. Qualified just didn't seem to work out for you today.
No, I just couldn't get it at all. I hurt my back last weekend, and then it's reoccurred this weekend. And I just thought to myself, I just have to get on with it. Go out and get as what points I can to see if we can keep in front of Philip.
And in the end, well, it worked for you. The champion in Spec too. I mean, wow. I mean, you could have hoped for a much better season. I know it's been an emotional roller coaster for you, but even so, I mean, wow, what a season!
Yeah, I'm happy. As I've achieved what I wanted to achieve, which is the main thing. So on to bigger and better things next season into the pros. We'll see how we do there.
Well, I mean, you achieved a third overall in Fuji. Got to be the highlight of the season, certainly for myself when it comes to you. I mean, surely it's got to be yours as well.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. See, my all time, not just this season, my all time finish in the league.
Yes, yeah, it's your highest ever, isn't it? I mean, well, hopefully next season we can see you back up on the podium places. Congratulations, Alan McCain, you're Spec 2 champion. Tom, anyone you managed to grab for a chat?
Well, I think we're going to drag in Jason Green. Jason, welcome to the box. Looked like you were the chance at stages of that race, but falling short in the end.
Yeah, it was a if it weren't for the lap 3 mistake that I had when going past Megan, it probably would have had a chance. But yeah, just after that, just pushing as hard as I could and just keep the pressure on Dudu. Hopefully hope he made a mistake, but unfortunately he was perfect the rest of the race. So yeah, but it was a lot of fun.
Was there a sense towards the end there where you were catching in that final stint? I mean, we knew how much of a margin that 3.5 seconds was. You know, a little bit less as you came out the pits, but you know, was there a sense that this thing I can win this thing, or were you just sort of hanging on in there to hold on to the podium?
Oh no, for sure. I definitely thought I could get to him. At one point, I think the gap got down to 1.8. I was really feeling it then, but then I got unlucky with the lap traffic. That cost me a bunch of time, so it was kind of over after that. But yeah, still kept on the pressure to try to force a mistake.
And well, on to next season. What are your ambitions?
Yeah, it was kind of I would always say I want to improve, but it's kind of hard when Marco's in the league. So yeah, just try to take the fights, maybe get some more wins. But yeah, we'll see.
Well, cheers for joining us, Jason, and we'll speak to you soon.
Yep, thanks, Scott.
And well, Tim, you've managed to grab a chat with Ian Gibson.
Yeah, our Spec 2 race winner. I just wouldn't pop in. It'd be rude not to. Ian, congratulations. There we go. He's clearly rendered
Ecstatic.
speechless.
Oh, no.
To his achievements. Oh no, there he is. No, there we go.
I'll get close.
Oh,
Ecstatic with the victory.
yes.
He can't even keep his microphone under control.
No, clearly can't. We'll come back to Ian quickly. I'll tell you what, we'll have who has we got sat there. What we'll do is we'll have a quick chat to one of our masters driver. Let's do Tom Gradwell. Tom Gradwell, welcome along. Podium in Masters, your home race. I mean, yeah. I mean, no one the drivers caught up in the melee of action in the midfield.
I was keeping out of trouble after I got a 4X before the green flag flew. I was playing it very conservative, just tootling along with Ian Gibson, minding our own business.
Well, I mean, like you say, you finished obviously, yourself just in front of him. Was that just purely just even before you got the 4X, before you had took the green flag? Was that just your strategy here today?
Oh yeah, I just popped my back out yesterday morning, so I was full of anti-inflammatories and yeah, wondering whether I should be racing at all.
You've clearly been talking to Alan McCain, Tom. He also has been complaining of back issues about the course of this race.
Almost identical. Yep. No, it must be contagious.
I clearly, yeah, a bit of a trait, but well, Tom, we'll let you go off and enjoy your Monday as it is for yourself. I know it's very early. You get up to do these races, and well, surely definitely worth it. Podium here today, Tom Gradwell. Congratulations to
Thank you.
you.
Cheers.
And well, I was just looking at the time, Tom. I think that's all we've got time for here today. Well into overtime. I'll allow you to give some closing thoughts on your first season of the Weekend Warriors. I did pre-warn you coming into this that things got a little bit Larry and a bit mad. And, well, what do you think after doing this season?
I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I think this is a fantastic league. They've got something really nice going on here, and hopefully I'll be back next season. Not too sure what our plans are going to be on that side with Apex Racing TV. But if I am back next season and not put on another league, then I'll do it gladly.
Definitely. I feel those thoughts completely. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We kick things off from Spa. We're rounding things out from Oran Park. And, well, 2 cracking races to close out the season in the Weekend Warriors. Congratulations to all our drivers. Thank you very much for joining us. I've been Tim Cox with Tom Dillon and Lewis Wright. And we'll see you in a few weeks' time when the next season kicks off of the Weekend Warriors. Good night.